Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Faye Mac and I post videos about my life in Canada as a new immigrant and how to get here. And I also interview Nigerian Canadians and other immigrants in Canada who are able to share their experiences so you guys can learn from them. And today I have a special guest. You guys can see already, Mushokwe Adebowale. Hi Mushokwe.
Hi Faye, how you doing? Hi everyone. Nice to meet you.
Thank you for joining us today. Mushakwa is a very busy guy, so I'm very honored that you accepted my invitation to come on. Can you do a brief introduction of yourself?
Okay, fantastic. Hi everyone. My name is Mushokwe Adibowale, and it's actually very good to pronounce my name properly because I speak to Nigerians. If I'm pronouncing it to people over here, I would say Mushokwe or something like that because I'll speak about that later. But yes, I'm a user experience designer. I currently work at KPMG here in Canada, and my work experience journey has been I started as a graphic designer, from a UI designer, and now I'm fully into UX design. I'm based in Toronto, in Canada.
Awesome. So yeah, my fellow Toronto person.
Yes, so we're in Toronto.
Okay, so that's good. So I guess my first question would be why Canada? Why did you decide to move here?
Okay, so my moving here has like different phases. First of all, it was even like a career thing. And back when I was in Nigeria, I'd worked for different companies and I had got into kind of like the peak where I knew that if I was going to work in another company, where would I work? The opportunities that kind of reached a particular roof. And the Canada was like one particular place that came up. And I'm later on, if we have time, I can talk about my journey to Canada. But it was, of course, back then it was very easy to get into. And Canada, like North America, is in North America, and it's growing. A lot of technical companies are here springing up, and yeah, that's one of the reasons why I came, mainly for work and to kind of be able to explore and see what next is out there for me.
Okay, so can you tell us about how, like, tell us the process? You said it was a bit easy for you, so tell us the process. When did you
Yeah.
move as well?
Okay, so I actually moved to Canada in 2019. In June 2019,
Okay.
I came into Canada through the express entry process. And the funny part of the story was, prior to when I applied for the express entry process, I wasn't aware about it. I didn't even know what it was. But I saw a friend doing it, and
Mm-hmm.
I just saw the Canada logo on a computer, and I'm like, oh wow, this is interesting. Tell me more.
Mm-hmm.
And she explained to me, and I'm like, oh wow, like this is a good opportunity. I can try this, and I applied. And I said I did the process, and it took a little bit of a while. I know Faye has different videos on how that process goes, so I might not explain
Yeah.
every single step. But I finally got it, and I got it in 2018. So I waited for a little bit and then moved here in June 2019.
Oh, okay. That's cool. So it was
Yeah,
the express entry process, the Federal Skilled Worker Program.
yeah, we have the Expert Federal Skill Worker Program, FSW, something
Okay.
like
Okay. So I'm just going to jump right in and ask you,
that.
um, what has been your greatest lesson since you moved to Canada from Nigeria? Because I know, there's a lot of difference, right? So what has been that greatest lesson that you want to share with people?
One thing, what the greatest lesson, there are so many lessons, but the maximum one that is on top of my list is you have to be very nimble. And nimble in what way? Canada is a kind of country that when you're coming here, you're coming with your previous experiences. But as you're coming in, you have to be able to, like, in technology, it's called being agile. Like, for your career, let's say, for example, you were working as a banker before. You might
Mm-hmm.
come in here and realize that opportunities in banking are kind of limited or specific to your field. You have to be nimble enough to try things. You have to be nimble enough to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to go do a course somewhere. I'm going to, take a start from the ground up. You have to be very nimble. There are so many, everybody in Canada's journey is really different and unique. And
Mm-hmm.
you have to be on your toes and ready to pivot. That is one of the biggest lessons. And like a bit to add to that is come with a plan. If you come to Canada, you don't have a plan, you're most likely to get kind of tossed around. So those two kind of go hand in hand. So for me, that's the biggest lesson.
Yeah. And honestly, that's something that I hammer on this channel. Like, you need to be flexible. You need to have a plan. You need to be
Mm-hmm.
intentional. Don't just sit
Mm-hmm.
down and say, oh, this thing is not happening. You need to find out why and what you need to do to move forward. So if you have to go back
Exactly.
to school, do so. If you have to do this and that, do so. Thankfully, there are grants and loans that would help you, you know, basically go to school without
Mm-hmm.
being too spent out on your savings and things like that.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
thank you for that. What is the toughest part? about being Nigerian in Canada? Like, what's that thing that you feel like, this gave me a hard time at some point? It's something that's tough for
Yeah.
Nigerians.
So for Nigerians, people talk about the cold, but I wouldn't talk about that. I just tell
Okay.
people I never liked the cold before I moved over here, but I tell people it's pretty simple. Invest in very good clothing, boots, jackets, all those things, you'll be fine. Don't move
Yeah.
around too much, you'll be okay. But the
Mm-hmm.
toughest thing I was the Nigerian culture and coming over here, it's kind of pretty different. Nigerian, we are kind of, we are always out there, talk to people, you greet your neighbors and all. When you come to Canada, you realize that Canadians are nice, but everybody is very individualistic. They stay on their own. And, like for example, I live in an apartment block. I have no idea who my neighbors are, and it's fine. Like, it's very normal. But in Nigeria, if you
Yeah.
move to and you go greet your neighbors, you get Christmas, you share food. I was speaking to some of my colleagues that during Christmas we cook food and we give the neighbors. They're like, "What are you guys doing? Why are you doing that?" So it's one thing over here, and everybody just wants to keep to themselves. So that might be kind of really hard for you, especially if you're someone that you like to go greet people. You have just your kind of Nigerian community to kind of meet with, and you have to kind of deal with that. There are a couple of other things that came to me as a culture shock. I don't know if you want me to talk about
Yeah,
that.
definitely.
So,
Please.
like culture shock, for example, like I mentioned, people are too individualistic, and like if you're on the train or in the public transit, everybody just sits down on their own, pressing their phone. You get nobody interacts, nobody talks to you, nobody does anything.
Headphones.
With headphones, looking down. People don't have make eye contact. If you see someone looking at you, you start getting worried. Like, what is the problem? It's really
Hmm.
very hard. Like in Nigeria, that you're inside the downfall, everybody's in your business. Yeah, madam, let me carry my
Hmm.
cooking. That doesn't happen over
Hmm.
here. You talk to children, you're in trouble. Like, so it's kind of a culture shock, and that's why a lot of people kind of come over here to get lonely because that individualistic thing is really, really very big here. But there are different ways to navigate around it. But for me, that was like the biggest culture shock.
Hmm. It's funny that you say that. That for you, that's the biggest culture shock. Because for me, I like that too. Like,
Oh, really?
I, I like, I like just everybody mind your business. Do your thing. Nobody should talk to me if it's not necessary.
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now
So
I
in Nigeria,
exactly.
In Nigeria, I was like that, and people felt like, oh, well, like why are you doing that? Like you're always frowning your face. I'm not frowning my face. It's just that why should I smile when there's nothing to make me smile like that? So I've always been that kind of person. So when I moved here, I didn't even notice it. To
Oh,
me, it was just part of. I mean, it is what it is. Like I'm happy people are now minding their business,
yeah, exactly.
but yeah, a lot of
And that
Nigerians
happens too.
definitely. Hmm.
Yeah, and
Go
just as
ahead.
like exactly so like for me, I really enjoy it, but like it even gets to the point where you're in the workspace and you can be in the same cubicle with people and you guys might not even talk. Nobody will say hi. You just go to your desk, do what you have to do, and get out. It
Yeah.
gets to that nitty gritty level. You understand? Like you're in church,
Yeah.
for example, fine. People can be nice and greet you in church, but everybody just goes to do their own thing and leave. That's if you're not
Mhm.
in the Nigerian church. So it has to
Yeah.
do too many things.
Yeah. And some offices too, they make that deliberate effort to create small talk, like deliberate to the extent that it becomes even a bit uncomfortable. Like you don't have to if you don't want to. Like
Mhm.
um so there's that. Yeah. People definitely struggle with, not having their family and friends around. In Nigeria, we're very communal. If you're going somewhere, you just leave your child with your neighbor, they're in
Mhm.
good hands. Here, no, there's no such thing.
Yeah.
So I definitely see how people struggle with that. So let's talk about jobs. Can you tell us a bit about what you do and how you were able to get into that field?
Okay, so I'm currently a user experience designer, and many people might know it as UI UX as product design. So for anyone that is not or doesn't understand what that is, as a user experience designer, I design softwares. Now, softwares for mobile applications, web applications, and all that. So basically, you use Spotify, you use your banking applications. I design what that interface looks like, and it's not just only design. I conduct research to understand what the users of these applications want to ensure that it's usable. And I'm sure at a particular point in time, we've used some government websites that suck, that they are annoying. They really, really
Mhm.
annoying you to use. You're like, this is intuitive or something very simple. I'm sure sometimes you get to a door and you try to pull it, it doesn't open and you push it. And designing experiences that ensure that anyone that uses it's usable. That's what I do. Now, how did I get into this particular job? So, like I mentioned earlier on the call, I started my career in graphic design, and I worked for many top companies in Nigeria before I moved here. But when I got my PR, as it's called, they stamp your visa and do all those things. I knew I was coming here, and I got a tip from some of the companies saying, "Hey, start to apply for jobs. You never know." And I tried applying for jobs, and I realized that when recruiters reach out to me, they ask me, "Do you have UX experience?" And I said, "No, I have graphic design experience." So I did my research. I realized that graphic design already is kind of saturated in Canada here. Most people are contractors, not full-time staff, and I didn't want to land in Canada and just go the contract route. So I realized UX was a thing. I'd been doing some UI designs, just designing interfaces and all when I was in Nigeria, but I knew if I wanted to come and compete on a global scale, I needed to level up. Design for anyone that is in the field of design in Nigeria, we know that the design field in Nigeria is really bare bones. There isn't so much in there. We don't have schools of design. Maybe you have a tech, but we don't have school of design. You watch YouTube, you learn, you should do trial and error and all those things. So when I came into Canada, I researched on a couple of boot camps, as they are called. They are 12-week programs that you can use to either pivot your career or learn new skills. I got involved in a particular boot camp. The one I got involved here is called Brain Station. It's a really very good one. And
Oh, Brain
yeah,
Station. I've
exactly.
heard
Yeah,
a lot of
Brain
good things
Station.
about it.
But yeah, exactly. And it's a very huge investment if you're willing, but it was a huge risk and I took it. So I did the course, and my current employer, I actually met them through the demo day or graduation program right off the bat. So immediately I
Oh,
finished,
wow.
yeah, right off the bat, that's how I got them. And one
Wow.
thing that set me apart, and which I still talk to many Brain Station students about, is I went there intentional. As a Niger guy, I knew that I didn't come here to play. I put my 100% into that particular course, 100%. And I really stood out. And definitely, I know the grace of God is there too, but I did my effort, my part. And even as aside from my current employer, I had other interviews. I basically didn't apply for any job. They came to me through that
Wow.
particular program. Yeah, so that is my
Wow.
own story.
Wow. And this was
Yeah.
how long into your stay in Canada?
So I landed. So what happened is I landed in June 30. I actually started the program when I was in Nigeria because they had an online program. So I knew I was
Holy,
coming. I had to
you're
move
not
my
wasting
flight.
time.
I wasn't wasting time because I landed with a bang. I came in straight into the program. I was doing the program. I was looking for a house. I was getting a bank account. I was doing everything because I
Hmm.
knew there's no time to waste. I only had
Mm-hmm.
summer to do everything I wanted to do. I came in summer. I was going to get cold soon. So I did a whole lot, and it was really a very good experience for me. And I'm very glad that those efforts were crowned with success. And yeah, that's pretty practically it.
Wow. That is very interesting because that's not something that I've heard a lot. I talk to a lot of newcomers, and a lot of people, yes, before they land, they try to start applying for jobs, but that's all. They
Mhm.
don't start programs in Canada when they're still in Nigeria. So that's something that obviously was very proactive of you. So, in as much as we are praying for the grace of God to shine upon us, we also have to put in the effort and be intentional about all the steps we're taking. That program, like, so literally the jobs came to you, and that's something that people would see once you get into a position or a space that employers will start reaching out to you. It never ends. They're going to continue
Exactly.
reaching out to you, looking for you, trying to poach you from whatever job you're doing. So that's amazing that you spoke about that. And someone asked the about the boot camp. It's called Brain Station, right? And you
Yeah,
said
great
it's
station.
online.
Yeah, so right now, thanks because of the COVID, they are online. So if someone wants to do it from Nigeria, you can kind of make inquiries and ask. I don't know how it works because I back then we're still doing the in-class thing, but because
Mm-hmm.
I sent them my documents that hey, I'm landing, I'm going to come over here. They allowed me, and I joined for like the first week online. Then I did the physical classes. But you can always go to their website, message them, inquire. I know people join from around the world right now, but it's really a very good platform if you want to learn and level up in any area, and their courses are very good. So I totally recommend them.
Okay. And Moshope, you said the company was right there for you at your graduation. You did
Yeah, for
interviews with multiple companies. Can you tell
yeah.
us what kind of organizations that we're referring to, just so that people understand why this is a big deal?
Okay, so for me, I work in one of the big four consulting companies. That was one of them. I also got an opportunity to interview with one of the banks, one of the biggest banks in Canada too, and another digital agency, and lots of other startups to reach out to me. So definitely, of course, I can't mention all their names, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was really, really a big deal because it was just like, oh, they said, wow, we see the potential and you have the talent, you're able to pivot some of the experience and learn that in there. And maybe before I forget, let me just add this particular stuff. For anyone that wants to kind of pivot careers, remember moving into a new field as a get here. But if you have prior work experience, there are skills you can bring to the table. You understand? There are skills that things that you've learned, the soft skills of communication, speaking, all those things you have them, you can carry them over to wherever you're going to. So just wanted to add that in there.
Because, like you said, too, at the end of the day, it's your transferable skills that really helped you because you didn't even do UI UX for a long time before coming to Canada. You were a graphic
Yeah,
designer, and
yeah,
it really they marry into each other. So, were you in IT at any point,
yeah.
like any computer related before then, though?
Yes, so one of the companies I work with is a technology company. I had worked in IT, and practically I have been really kind of fascinated about technology. You know, I work with developers. I try to lay my hands on so many things. At some point, I tried to code. I realized it's not for me, but I tried. I have an idea about it, and I tinker
Mhm.
around it there. Now, necessarily for a UX designer, it's not compulsory that you need to know how to code. It's very good for you to learn, but yeah, it's not compulsory you need to know how to code.
Okay. Okay, that's interesting. Well, you guys that are, graphic designers that are watching or web developers, what are the other related
Yeah,
jobs that are
data
transferable?
science, yeah, all those things.
Yeah, so if you're watching, just drop your questions. Mushakwe can see them as well. So we'll answer all the questions at the end of the interview session. So you guys feel free to drop your question, even if it's not career related, if it's just life in Canada related, go ahead and drop your questions and we'll answer them. Remember to give this video a thumbs up. You guys know how we mark attendance here. Hit the thumbs up button so that we know that you're here, okay? So my next question for you is what's the field actually like here? Because you mentioned before that UI UX is not really a big career in Nigeria yet. It's not like a massive field. Um, so here it is because I know that, even when people say IT jobs are in demand and things like that, I know that a lot of times they're referring to UI UX because it's actually a big deal here, even all because I work for the bank and I know that even in the banks, they're constantly changing things. They're constantly improving their software, improving a lot of things every single day. So, of course, it's a big deal. What is the field like? Like,
Mhm.
yeah, what is the field like here?
Okay, so the UX field over here, first of all, they have proper design schools. So that is one
Hmm.
big thing. UX generally globally, it's growing. It's really growing in the world right now, and very soon to get to a point where it's really growing. And if any, it feels like UX design, data science, software development, they are growing super because most of these big companies are very like if you look at the way the world is now, look at the top richest men, what they provide actually software, oil and gas, all those things, but they're kind of down there. Those companies, their product needs good user experience. So every company is now investing into their UX. It's a really growing field. And as it is now growing, a lot of people are realizing, man, I can actually move into this particular field and all that. So people are trying also to move into that stuff too. Especially with the pandemic. The pandemic kind of blew it open because people lost their jobs, people were trying to pivot careers, a lot of things happen. So it's growing on both ends.
Hmm.
It's really growing on both ends, and there are lots of opportunities, but competition can be pretty tight. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, so like the competition is really is getting tight right now, but it's not impossible because companies are
Hmm.
starting daily, products are expanding, people want to make more money, so that field is really growing.
Okay. So the competition is stiff. And honestly,
Yeah.
we're both in Toronto. Listen, all
Hmm.
these jobs, and this is something that I find Canadians are actually very educated compared to some other countries.
Hmm.
Not Nigeria, Nigeria, obviously, we are very, very educated because if you don't go to university, if you're not, then you're not educated. But Canadians and the people in Canada, a lot of people are highly educated. And I guess that's because even with immigration, they're bringing in the best of the best.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
most of the people, about a third of the people in Canada, or maybe one quarter of the people in Canada, many of them are in Ontario. And most of them are in Toronto.
Yeah,
So
50% of Canada is actually Southern Ontario.
exactly. So it's actually a lot of people here in Toronto. So the competition for any job is really steep. But what we used to console ourselves here is that at least the jobs are there.
Yeah, they are there. Oh, trust me, they are there.
So if you search and you search for jobs in Toronto, you're going to see on whether it's Indeed.ca or Glassdoor, you're going to see the number of results that you would see in Toronto compared to other places. So, in as much as there's a lot of competition, there are also the jobs, they're here. So now when you see one job, just know that there's hundreds of you applying for that
Mm-hmm,
job.
mm-hmm,
So you
mm-hmm.
really need to think about how you can stand out, how you can make yourself stand out. And that leads me to my next question. What are the top 3 skills or um characteristics that you think would be good for someone who's trying to get into UI UX?
Okay. So from a UX person, I know there's an aspect of UX that has to do with design. It's pretty important, but if you don't have a designer skill, UX is not just design only. There are so many aspects around it. But some of the skills that are very important for a UX designer: empathy. You need to be able to understand people. You need to have kind of like an analytical mindset, because you are trying to understand users' needs. You're asking questions. You're doing research. You're trying to put yourself in the user's shoe. Why is this person frustrated? How can I help them? And communication is really very big. You need to be able to communicate your ideas. You need to be able to ask questions. Those things are very important, because what we do, we work with human beings as our users, and you need to be able to talk to them, present your ideas. And we don't work in silo. We work with our project managers, we work with our
Hmm.
product managers, we work with our development team, we work with our business stakeholders. You should be able to communicate your ideas across the board. So having an understanding of those things, analytical thinking, would really help you. Now, the design aspect, you can learn design, and like any other craft, the more you do it and practice, the better you get. But those things are really, really very important in for a UX designer.
Okay. So you mentioned a couple of roles, project management, product management.
Mhm, mhm.
So would you say these are possible career paths for people that are in UI UX? So if I come in and I get a job, maybe an entry level UI UX, what should be my career projection? Like just an example of what the possible path would be to go up and climb up the corporate ladder.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So as a UX person, once you get in, or even if you're just doing design, a UX person can, as a generalist, you do everything. And UX has different areas. You have research, you do user research. You have interaction design, where you design how the interfaces are, the nitty gritty. You have visual design. You're all about, is it beautiful? Does it look very nice? You have design operations. When you get to a particular level, you kind of manage how your team works, how people do their design process. And from that particular level, as you scale up, you can move within the UX field and be a specialist. You can be a research specialist. You can be a visual design
Hmm.
specialist. You can be a product designer who handles end to end. You can then move on to like a manager, be a design manager, mentor other designers, grow them. Now you can decide as a designer and say, hey, you know what? I don't want to do UX again. I want to move into product management. Now, product management is another field too that is it's really growing. And because what a product manager does is you manage the life cycle of a particular product. And product in this sense is a web application, is software and all. Like now you keep seeing Instagram releasing updates and changing things here and there. It's getting clunky and all. A product manager will be the person to determine what goes where, when are we updating this, how are we updating this, when are we building this, and all that. We have project managers. Sometimes some designers say, you know what, I want to go learn coding, and they become a front end developer, actually coding designs. You understand? So there are so many particular places you can kind of move in and pivot in. We've also seen software developers that become designers. We've seen product managers that become designers. It's a back and forth at that particular level. So it's really, really super interesting. The field is really very interesting.
Nice, nice.
Mhm.
That sounds like a big world of opportunities to me, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah.
So that's good. So just delving away from the career part of things
Mhm.
now, I know you mentioned before that living here is different from living in Nigeria. It's such that living here is more individualistic than in Nigeria. What else would you say is different with how you live here? Like, is there anything that you just feel like, okay, now I'm in Canada, so it's different now, so I have to do things differently or live differently.
Yeah. So I'll the first one I'll touch about is I heard this thing. I didn't believe it till I got here, and I thought so it was real. And if you attend any sessions of like Canadian whatever, this used to be kind of work if I pivot into like lifestyle. In Canada, networking is a big deal. It's a really big deal. Later we can kind of expand on that, but you have to network. In Canada, information is super important. You
Hmm.
understand? Because people keep to themselves. How are you going to get all the information? Be part of a community, meet people, talk with them is really very super important. And when I got over here, I realized that okay, you know what? I don't know anything about this community. You might just sit down in your house, apply for jobs, work, and do whatever. That's pretty fine. But the more information you get about the lay of the land, where to get the best deals, how things work, the stores that give you the best stuff, even up to the point of saying what is the best winter jacket, is super
Hmm.
important because that information is really very key in the lifestyle. And then, coming from Nigeria, you get paid, you get paid your salary, you pay your rent monthly. Everything here, all your bills
Yearly.
are monthly. You understand? Yeah, yeah. You pay your rent in Nigeria. In
Hmm.
Canada, all your bills are monthly. Your bills come in monthly. So you have to you have to understand your finances too. You understand? You need to understand how your credit card works because it's not
Mm,
just free money and you have your credit score, you have all those things. Like so when you're getting a job and all that, you have to kind of live within your means. And for me, when I got here, I realized that some of the flashy things that we care about in Nigeria, many people don't really care about that. You're driving a big car, nobody was their own. You bought a big house, fine, really pretty great. Like it's a good thing, but everybody just keeps going on their own. Nobody will
mhm.
see you and I drive a Tesla and they look at you, chairman. Nobody cares. But the truth about it is that your boss at work might even take the train. You
Mhm,
understand? Nobody really. So some of those things like the material gains and all that, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter, at least to me. So kind
mhm.
of adjust to that kind of lifestyle. And personally, I'm a kind of person I love to explore. And over here, the culture is very rich. So I eat my Nigerian food, but I love to eat food from other cultures too. I learned to use chopstick. I learned to eat with my friends. I gave them pepper, all those things. They were frying. It's just really very good. So some of those things have kind of helped me to kind of balance out because trust me, it's a new land you can explore and you can either be on your own or kind of have fun and explore.
Yeah, and there's so much to explore,
Yeah,
like
there's so much to
so much.
explore.
It's like having so many different countries in one because Canada is
Mhm.
so big.
Yeah,
It's so funny because when I first landed, I landed in Nova Scotia. So even coming all the way to Ontario, there was a big culture shock.
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
how different the cultures are. Like even in Newfoundland, have you heard someone from Newfoundland speak?
Yeah, I think they said that their language it's very different. You can't really hear what they're
The
saying.
accent is so
Yeah,
different,
it's so different. If you
and
get to Quebec too, pretty different. Their French
yeah,
is even different from normal French and all that. It's all very different.
exactly. So people like you that love to explore, you're going to have a field day here.
Yeah, exactly. Going
Me,
around
I'm not
exploring.
much. I'm not much of an explorer. But this 2021, now, new year, new me, has
Yeah,
has always
that's it. If COVID allows you, then that's really fine. So
true. Now you just say, it's COVID, it's COVID,
yeah,
it's
it's
COVID. You
COVID.
can't go anywhere.
Excuse.
It's COVID.
Yeah, you have to
COVID
save a
will soon
lot for.
go. COVID will soon go. Everybody will have to, just so I'm going
Exactly.
to try to explore more, especially even the Maritimes and BC. So many beautiful places, so many beautiful
Mhm.
cultures to learn. So can you tell us a little bit about what it's like dating in Canada? Because I know that you came here as a single guy, and by single I mean
Mhm.
like not married. I don't
Yeah.
know, the relationships. So what was it like? First of all, what's the advantage of you even coming as a single person? Because I also came as a single person, and for me the advantage was being very flexible to move around, right? So me, I've lived in 5 different cities. I Whenever I hear ching ching, I just pack my bags and I'm off.
Out.
I know that it's not that easy for people with families to do that. What about you? What advantage would you say gotten from coming as a single person, and what is the dating scene like in Canada?
Canada. Okay, so coming as a single person, the one big advantage is you're able to take more risks. Like for example, you can say, "Hey, I want to pivot my career," and the journey might not be smooth like my own. Some people take time to kind of transition into the field. A couple of questions in the chat that kind of refer to that, and I can take them and answer them later on. But you're able to take risks. You understand? When I moved into Canada, so like for someone that has a family and all that, you can't the kind of house you want to move into, you need somewhere that has space because you have a family and all that too. That's pretty great. But as a young person, I can say, hey, you know what? I'm more as a guy, I want to hustle. I want to stay in a very shared apartment, minimum stuff, not spend too much money. That is pretty great. So as a single person, you can kind of take that risk. When you have a family, you have to come to your spouse. You have bigger decisions to make, and also to like it's pretty great. Now there are a couple of things that like, and as a single person, sometimes decisions like buying a house and all that, it's much easier to do when you're married. So as a single person, it might be kind of tough, but being able to travel around easily, move around as a single person, you can do that. Now, what is the dating scene like in Canada? To be honest, it's really very tough. It's really very hard. That's about it. And like I mentioned, everybody, like I mentioned earlier, everybody's kind of individualistic. In Nigeria, and if there are guys in this place, that sharp guys, you can see a girl, walk up to her, hey, hi, talk to them, normal, exchange numbers. In Canada, I don't, you can't do that. People look at you as if you're a creep. That's the truth about it. You can't just say, hey, everybody minds their own business. So what most people do here is they use all these dating apps, and trust me, it's a very hard way to meet people. Like it's really very tough because people here like to keep to themselves. There's something called like they have their personal information they don't want to share, and it's like a super spot. So what most people do over here is there's still any single person in Canada, like you don't have anybody you're dating and stuff. What most people do is they do through the method of referrals. Do you know anybody? Do you know anybody? And people will either refer the Nigerian people, or if a Nigerian is open, they can date from other cultures and all. But definitely, if you're going to be dating from other cultures, you need to be able to learn because these guys don't have your mindset. Our Nigerian mindset, trust me, it's a very unique mindset. Other people, they don't understand. We're very religious people. You might date someone that doesn't, they're not
Yeah.
religious and they don't care, and it's a normal thing for them. You
Yeah.
understand? So it's a really very huge landscape in Canada dating. It can be, as sometimes it can be fun, challenging, but yeah, it's most people kind of go to that particular phase where they find it hard to meet people, and for some people, it might be an issue.
Honestly, you couldn't have said it better because, I try not to delve into it because, I didn't actively date in Canada. I wasn't dating. I had the person that I already was with before moving here. So when people ask me what is dating like, I get that question a lot. And I'm like, I wish I could answer you, but I can't. But I just say, dating is not easy. From what I've heard, dating here is not easy as a Nigerian because you have your specific beliefs that it's not really the popular belief in this place. You know, sometimes when you tell someone you're a Christian, they start to question you and ask you questions that you self
Mhm. Exactly.
you wondering, that don't you believe there is a God? Don't you believe, So yeah, like
Exactly.
you said,
And
the culture is totally different.
yeah, it's very different. And when I moved over here, one other thing that was like a culture shock for me was like you see people. So back in Nigeria, it's to be kind of frowned upon, but here it's normal. A boyfriend and girlfriend, we're boyfriend and girlfriend. The level commitment to them means we start living together. So they date for 1 month. After 1 month, they're already living together as a
Mm,
couple. They even buy
mm,
houses together. And
mm.
to them, they just they move out to their parents' house or wherever they're living and start living as a couple, splitting bills, sharing stuff. And for me, I'm like, in Nigeria, like this kind of thing can't happen. You move in from your father's house into your boyfriend's house, and he hasn't paid your bride price, he hasn't seen your family, doesn't know anybody. It can't happen. But over here, it's
Yeah.
normal. They buy houses together, they make investments together. It's a normal thing to them, and I just couldn't. Like, it was really a huge culture shock for me.
Yeah, as early as 18. Like as early as 18. And
Exactly.
and I think that's a thing also because the cost of living is high. If you say you
Yeah.
just want to get a one-bedroom apartment
Ah,
in or a
no.
one-bedroom condo in Toronto, you're looking at right now because of COVID, it has really, really dropped. You're looking at maybe 1.8, you know.
180K.
Yeah, so as a single person, do you just want to just pay that 1/8, or would you rather just get a place with your boyfriend or your girlfriend and split the bills? So that's why you see a lot of young professionals, even if they're not married, they're dating somebody and they're living together, they're going to work, they're doing everything, they're living together, like that is their lifestyle, just like you said. So that's not uncommon at all. That is like normal. If you are living
Normal.
alone by yourself, people will be wondering, why?
Yeah. And when you're living alone, you buy your cats, buy your dogs to keep you company because you go
Mhm.
crazy if you're the only person in that house. Trust me.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's a very interesting perspective. Yeah. Would you say, based on your experience, that Nigerians that have moved to Canada, would you say they're open to other, to dating, to a wide range of, candidates in the pool? Would you say that?
So one thing about it is that, like, most people are not open in that sense to say, "Oh, I want to date a white person, I want to date an Indian, I want to date an Asian, and all that." And sometimes you realize that those guys don't want to date you because there's the
Mm,
aspect of racism and all these things that happen.
mm,
So, and sometimes because of the mindset that, oh, just realize, unless maybe it's someone that, like, someone that is not of your skin color, of your race and tribe, that's lived with, either lived with Nigerians, lived in that part of stuff. Because sometimes you're talking to some people and they don't, you can't relate with them, you can't crack the same kind of jokes, you can't say the things like loading and all that. They don't understand those things because it is not in their sphere of influence. So communication is really kind of hard. But some people are really open to it. I know the international couples are doing pretty well. I know Nigerian couples
yeah.
are doing well, but it's kind of 50-50 depending on what you meet out there.
Okay, that's interesting. So you mentioned racism. I want to know, have you had any experiences with racism, or has it come near you, basically? Let me let me put it that way.
Yeah, I've had my share of that. So not so much, but I've had microaggressions, the most common one you will see, and I had to kind of study to understand what's going on. The most common one you see is if you're in the public transit. So, unlike in Nigeria where you're in the bus, if you just sit down beside you, you pack yourself together. If you're a black person sitting down, if there's a seat beside you, there's a high chance other people or other, like, white and whatever, they wouldn't want to sit down beside you. They rather
Mm,
stand. So in Canada, it's a normal thing. If you get inside the bus, you sit down. Nobody comes to sit down beside you. They find another spot,
hmm,
which is
hmm,
pretty normal. But when you imagine if you're in rush hour, the bus is crowded, and this one actually happened to me. And I would actually like got the confirmation. There were seats everywhere. I was sitting down, by this side. There was a seat beside me, and this white guy came in. He saw that seat and he just decided to stand, do the standing stuff. And someone else got up from, like, he could have sat down there, not a big deal. Someone else got up from somewhere and went to go and sit down there. And there's this other, Indian person that just came in, or brown person that just came in and sat down beside me and it was normal. And I've noticed those things. The little
hmm,
microaggression, like, you might not realize it. The one that
hmm,
even like was kind of like a full blown racism. I was waiting for this for the streetcar somewhere downtown, and I was about entering. It was like a rush hour, and fine. The woman might have been crazy or mental, but she just started coming to me. Who are you? Get back to your country. People here are trying to enter into this, blah blah blah. Blah. And it's a kind of environment when that kind of thing happens, everybody keeps quiet. Nobody says anything.
hmm,
You understand? Nobody speaks up. And even though, like, I knew that she was okay, she most likely was high on something. But trust me, it was really very hurtful, like saying those things like, "Oh, you get back to your country, you is black, whatever, whatever," and those things happen. Now, some
hmm,
people have suffered for even more of that at the workplace at different levels, and you have to kind of be able to, like, when it comes to you, think that it might not happen to you, but it comes to you. Trust me, it hits you really, really very hard, super hard. Like, it's not an easy thing to experience at all.
hmm.
Yeah.
You've said, and I'm just weak because that bus and train one, that one is standard.
It's standard. It's standard.
It's
So
standard.
yeah. So
It's
exactly. Just join them. Wear your headphones and lock up and just press your phone. Like, do
yo,
something.
as in, it's standard. But fam, if you want to stand, that's your problem.
Exactly. That's your
Like
problem.
you so people that are just coming in, and honestly, I don't want anybody to feel discouraged by things like this, because first of all, racism is everywhere, and I ask these questions because I want people to know that it's real in Canada, because we have a habit, or people in Canada have a habit of sweeping racism in Canada under the rug, saying, "Oh, it's not as bad as the US. There's racism, but it's not bad. It's not. It might not be as out in your face as the US in some cases. I mean, trust me, I've experienced what you just said about, someone that's probably, high on something saying stuff to you. We've experienced that. A lot of people have experienced that. A lot of people have experienced those outbursts that you feel like, oh, something happened, and the next thing is just you, N word, go back to your country or
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
And we tend to excuse it as, oh, the person was probably just mental or high on something. If they're high on something, that's when they're saying what is inside their mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way me I
Mm-hmm.
see it. Like, it's already inside. You're racist, but now you're high on something, so it's bringing it out. So that doesn't happen very, very frequently. But what you just said, like microaggressions, entering or even just walking on the street as a black guy, and somebody clutching their purse,
Mm-hmm.
or
Or in
crossing
the
or
elevator, and exactly,
elevator,
or
that
they
one
cross
too
the
is
other side
standard.
or walk. Now on a standard, it happens. And another thing that when I came here, that was kind of a shock. And there was a particular guy that I could have kind of blasted him, but I just kind of chilled. So
Hmm.
my name is Mushope. Now, not everybody can pronounce that PE sound. You understand? The first level of microaggression is, oh, your name is Mushope. Can I call you Mo? I'm like, no, don't call me Mo. I then
Hmm.
explain the meaning of my name to them. My name means I give thanks to God. So you call me Mo, it means I. I don't have any English names, and I'm happy I don't have any English names. But if I can pronounce Arnold Schwarzenegger or whatever, I can pronounce Justin Trudeau. I don't say, oh, Trudeau is hard, let me pronounce True. You can try to pronounce my name. So I always put my foot down. For some people, they
Mm-hmm.
don't do that. They just say, oh, call me whatever you want. Call me Mo. If you have an English name, you can use that. And we've seen these kind of things happen, especially when you're applying for jobs. They see your name is very funny, you understand, and they don't want to get you in. You understand? They'll be like, oh, like your resume, but we're in a particular field, like the field of UX, kind of feel that you have your portfolio, you have your resume. If your work is very good, they have no option but to want to get you in the pipeline. You understand? So I've seen those kind of things. I was talking to a guy, I said, oh, your name is Bishop. Like, don't you have an easier name? In my
Hmm.
mind, I'm like, sorry, like don't blame me because you're lazy and you can't pronounce my name. At least try.
Hmm.
And what most people do now is they ask me, sorry, how do I pronounce your name? I get that a
Hmm.
lot. And I teach them how to pronounce my name. Because that name is my identity. And I tell them, this is who I am. If you call me Mo, if you call me M, or call me, reduce my
Um.
name, people do Starbucks, they just put M or something. They reduce that identity of who you are, and they kind of break
Mm,
that in. So you get those things a whole lot.
yeah.
People don't know how to pronounce your name, and it is fine. You be the
Mm-hmm.
one, teach them. You understand? If you have an English name, you want to use a name, use your English name, you understand? But I don't have an English
Yeah.
name, so I have to go with what I have.
Yeah, I don't have an English name either, so I people tend to for so me my name is Feyi Shokwe, so pretty similar to yours, but the more and back home in Nigeria, people call me either Feyi or Shokwe.
Mm-hmm.
The only people that call me Feyi Shokwe are maybe my parents when I'm in
Friends.
trouble or something. So when I came here, honestly, everybody just started calling me Faye, 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 Faye. So I accepted the FEY. But after a
Mm-hmm.
while, I'm like, what? It's
What
just an
does Faye
extra I.
mean?
Like, it's just an I at the end. Like, is that a big Faye, Faye, Faye? Not just, don't just end at Faye. It's Faye. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just an E. Like, that's not hard. So I totally can relate to
Mm-hmm.
what you're saying. I'm sure a lot of us Nigerians here can relate
Yep,
because we have.
exactly. Yeah, and someone has a comment, a particular comment in the section that kind of rise to this. Always asking like, what do you do in a situation of racism? And trust me, I had to read about these things to empower myself. Because trust me, you can get angry, but do not get angry. That's the thing. Control yourself. You're going to be labeled as an angry black man. Control yourself. Just think about it that this person's an idiot. It is
Hmm.
either I keep quiet or I counter them with an educated stuff. You keep calm. You understand? Be calm. That's what about it. Be calm. You're boiling inside, but pinch yourself, do whatever, and educate them. You understand? Why are you
Yeah.
talking about this? People will ask me, "Oh, do you guys have these things in Nigeria?" I'm like, "Wait, why are you telling me?" Like, I designed a particular application, and someone was asking me, "Oh, this application looks so nice. Would Nigerians use it?" I'm like, "What do you mean? Like, I could have said, I used to like, and I educated that, oh, Nigeria is a particular country where, we have lots of cultures, we buy things from all over the world. Educate them, you understand? If you get angry, trust me, it wouldn't end well.
Do you know that? And honestly, there's this innocent ignorance
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah,
comes with a lot of people.
yeah.
A lot of times in some cities in Canada, I mean, in Toronto, obviously, there's a lot of, diversity. In many other big cities, remember I said I came from Halifax, and I've dealt with,
Oh,
some
small
older.
towns? Oh no.
Yeah, and honestly, yeah, there's actually a good population of international students in Halifax. It's just that when you're now dealing with the old people that are not near the schools or anything like that,
Mm-hmm.
you're probably the first Black person that they're coming in contact with.
Yeah,
So, back then I used to do braids a lot, like kinky braids, all the way very long down to my back and everything. And, people would just come and,
touch your hair.
they're so fascinated. Like they've seen something right out of a museum. Like, oh my God, what? Oh my, how long did it take? Blah, 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 blah. And you can't take offense to everything.
Exactly. Like,
You can't take offense to everything. There's some that are innocent that you just need to turn into a teaching opportunity for yourself and a learning opportunity for them. I've had people say things to me that, oh, you're not like so this person asked me, where are you from? I said Nigeria. I said, okay. I said, why? He's like, you're different from the other Black people. I'm like,
really?
honestly, you just have to turn it into a teaching moment. You have people that are, not Black that would call you the N-word in a friendly manner.
Yeah.
And just act like, oh, like, why is that wrong? Like, what's wrong with that? I thought we were friends. I thought we were.
I'm
No,
like, no,
don't
you
do
don't say that. For example,
that. Don't.
people see me and say, oh wow, you're so outspoken, you communicate well, like your English is very good. I'm like, Nigeria is an English speaking country. Like, why would do you assume that my English is not good? Like, what
Do you know
does
how
that?
many times I've had to say that? I
Yeah,
mean, I can guarantee you that at least if you attend 10 interviews, one or two interviewers
you'll
would
comment about it.
compliment. In fact, should I say three or four, or even five, will compliment your English because they've already had a preconceived notion about you from your name
Exactly.
and from the locations on the companies on your resume. If you have locations there, they've already assumed that you. So I get people asking me a lot, like, how long have you been in Canada? I'm like, 5 years. Even then, when it was 2 years, they're like, wow, and your English is this good? I'm like,
My
you
English
think
was good
you
before.
think I learned English in Canada? I'm like,
Exactly.
you people, you
Yep,
know,
exactly. And you have to just educate them because some people just look at them, but you can't be angry at them at the end of
you
the day. You
can't,
get like, you can't be angry
you
at them. You
can't.
just have to just,
It's a waste
yeah.
of your energy
You should be energy.
because
Like, just look at, I don't need this.
because how many times do you want to be angry? You're going to keep hearing it for, in fact, maybe for the next 2 decades, you'll still be hearing that comment.
Exactly. And to add to this particular thing, one thing I also remembered is, so when I got here, it's when you get here that you realize you have a Nigerian accent. And many
Mm,
people try to kind of bury their accent. You try to speak, oh, they speak like them. But
mm-hmm,
when I joined my company, I realized that there are top people in the company. They're Asians. You can still hear they speak English, but you can hear their Asian accent, their Chinese accent, their Indian
mm-hmm,
accent, their Russian accent, and they are not trying to speak like a North American.
mm-hmm.
So for when people ask me, guy, your accent never changed. I'm like, no, I can speak
What
in a
kind of
way that
question?
you understand. Like I can speak in a way that you definitely will understand I'm communicating, but I will not mask my Nigerian whatever to suit you. You understand?
Mm-hmm,
Definitely, once you
mm-hmm,
get into that environment, it's your unique identity. Like I'm a Nigerian, and you have a very wonderful story to tell. That's what about it.
mm-hmm,
Many of people don't know. You understand? Like I have other colleagues too that sometimes like they speak. I can't really understand them because they're from different places. But I take my time to listen to them. I ask them, hey, sorry, like oh, can you repeat that again? You went a little too fast. I didn't understand. But it is what is unique about me, and I wouldn't now try to speak like them to kind of suit them.
mm-hmm,
Sorry, but try
mm-hmm.
make an effort to listen to me. Sorry, like it is what it is. Make an it's true.
So, so yeah, it's just to people out there, things will happen. You'll get called the N word. in
Mm-hmm.
as much as Canadians would never, many of them would never admit that there is outright racism that's in your face. It exists here. It's not
Yeah.
only microaggression and systemic racism and implicit bias. There is in your face racism where somebody will
Mm-hmm.
scream the N word at you. It's up to you to now decide what you want to do with that. But for me, I can't let it get to me. I can't react. It's just you're just not okay. That's how I see it. And
Yeah,
that's kind of what
exactly.
you said as well. Like you can't be getting angry at everybody, you know. You can't just use your energy for that. It's unfortunate that we even have these conversations. And guess what? Those people that are screaming the N word at somebody while they're walking on the streets, those people are somebody's father, mother, teacher,
Mothers, teachers, and all
doctor,
that. Exactly.
banker, manager at work. These are not ghosts. They're not, people that are psychologically not okay. Like people try to say, oh, the person is just
Yeah,
insane or
it's
just
better.
on drugs.
Oh, so they know what they're
They're
doing.
ordinary people. They're your neighbor. They're your church member. Do you understand? So I like to kind of humanize and personify these people. Like they're just people on your street as well. So know that just be conscious of your environment. I mean, there was
Exactly.
one
Be
time that the
conscious.
post was going around about somebody who got a like a flyer in their at their door, just in the GTA here, where it said something about black people should not like be they should not be with white people. They should try
Oh
white
yeah,
people should
I
try to
swear.
preserve their lineage
Yeah,
and their
like don't get back
bloodline.
and all that.
And so there's a lot of that even in the GTA and other big cities, but honestly, just don't let it get to you.
Exactly.
So
Don't
my
let it get.
final question, yeah, did you want to say something?
Oh, yeah, I want to just say that also too, like there's some people that are really super nice. So
Mhm.
without the bad ones, I like for example, I've had some of my neighbors that really very like the particular day I was in the elevator and I saw this white lady and I just went into I kind of went to defense mode. I just stood and she greeted me, hey, how you doing? I like you. I think I was wearing this particular shirt. Oh my god, I like this, what is this? And we had a confirmation. Some people are
Yeah.
nice, but definitely there are some people that are bad eggs. So yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Honestly, I've had some of the best neighbors, like super, super nice. And I always say these Canadians are nice. And some of it is real genuine niceness, like just nice to the extent that you can't even comprehend. Like, and this is one thing that people would notice. I don't know if you experienced this. Let me ask you, but you came to Toronto, so maybe not. Let's see.
No, let's
When
see.
you came here, were you surprised? Like, were people smiling at you for no reason?
Yeah, people were smiling like me. Like when I got to the border, people were like smiling. And, like when I walk around, so I'm a kind of person that during summer I like to wear my Nigerian wear. Like you see me, I wear it, and people compliment me. Hey, I like this, I
Mhm.
like that. People smile at you. You understand? Like that happens. People smile. Sometimes my kind of, but they just kind of move. But yeah, when I was in the states, everybody just kind of does whatever they want to do. This was their very different breed. But yeah,
You know what? That's how I feel about Toronto. Because coming from Halifax, honestly, people will smile at you, greet you good morning, hello. If you're jogging on the street, they're cheering you on. Like, so when I moved to Toronto, me, I just felt like everybody was just minding their business. Like nobody even sent you.
yeah, it's a big city.
Nobody
That's the thing about it. It's a big city. So in
big
the smaller
city.
cities, I've been to towns where I was the only black person in like a mile. You don't see any black person. So when they smile at you, they greet you, kind of move on. In Toronto
Yeah.
here, the big city, busy, busy, busy. Everybody does their thing. So experience is
Jama
different.
jama.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so my last question for you now, before we just go into the Q&A quickly, is what are your top tips for new immigrants? So somebody that's coming, we've said a lot, we've given a lot of tips from career to how to deal with racism to so many different things, dating. But what would you say are your top tips, things that people should always keep at the top of their minds that, okay, this tip would really help me? What are those top tips that you have for new
Okay,
immigrants?
so I'll break it down in different phases. If you're just about to come to Canada, definitely you're going to be coming here looking for work and all that. I know Faye has good tips for how to come to Canada, but when you're coming to Canada, and I always tell people LinkedIn is really very super powerful. We don't use LinkedIn as much in Nigeria. Some people use LinkedIn the wrong way, but networking is very super important. And now, thanks to the pandemic, LinkedIn is a place where you can actually meet people. And for example, you want to switch into the field of UX design, you want to, work in a particular field, data, big data and all that. The way you can kind of get information is as you are coming in, start to network with people. And don't just go to LinkedIn, search for somebody and add them. You can start by, a Nigerian person in this field. When you're adding them on LinkedIn, preferably use your computer. LinkedIn has a feature that says add notes. Click on the add notes button. Put a very nice introduction. Hi, Sam. Nice to meet you. I can see you're doing big in this data field. I'm really looking forward to move to Canada and I want to get to know about what you do. Do that for many people. Some people will accept. And there's a particular feedback I heard on a particular call I was on. What most people do is when they come to your LinkedIn, they'll message you. And I did that. I did that in the past too. So I'm guilty of that. And they will, excuse me, you have this job in your company. I want to apply for this job. Can you refer me? If you ask for a job, you get advice. If you ask for advice, you get a job.
Hmm.
If you genuinely want to look at how do things work and someone is willing to spend 30 minutes of their time, either through a Zoom call or to talk to you, to tell you the lay of the land, trust me, if you can get that person's attention, they're willing to help you. That's the truth
Hmm.
about it. So ask for advance, learn about those things, network, grow your network. That's the thing about it. And from genuine commercial with people, because like my network, for example, I'm building my network up to a particular point where if I need a job in another company, not now, I'm satisfied with my work, but let's just say in case that happens, I've already built this connection. I say, hey, and it's much easier to go that way. So that's super important. When you're coming to Canada, have a plan. Like I said, come in with a plan. You understand? Do your research, even on like things like salaries and all that. Their website again that can offer you the kind of salary. Do your research. Understand. Be very nimble. Everybody's career, everybody's path in Canada is very different. Some people have my own kind of story. They come in. Some even get jobs from Nigeria. It happens. Some come here for 1 year. They kind of struggle to get there. At the end of the day, I don't know anybody that's been in Canada for a very long while that's not doing okay now. You get there, but you have to be very nimble. Sometimes you might even have to say, okay, you know what? To survive, I need to just get a customer service job and be doing it. One of my friends did that. She did a customer service job and she now got a very huge job that was paying her a really very low because she didn't did that to kind of survive. So be very nimble, ask for information. Information is super key, you understand?
Hmm.
What the information might be about jobs, might be something simple like please, what school can I take my children? How do I train my children in this Canada? All these other things, you get like so many things. You have that in there. That's really super important. Now, if you're in Canada already, you have a job, you are doing okay, be open, explore. One thing I did actively, and some people come to Canada and they try to just limit themselves to Nigerian communities. I did I did my program in Brain Station. I got to know the people over there. I talked with them. I asked them, oh, what about your culture? How people have been living in Canada for years, their family has been here. Where can I get the best deals? Where can I do this? Where can I do that? I try their food, I do all that. You mix and you learn those things. That way, when you are in a particular opportunity to network, you can see that, for example, Bill on his, on your LinkedIn is like a white person, for example. He loves hockey. I don't know anything about hockey or whatever, but I can speak, oh, the Blue Jays, and I start talking about that. You know different things about these environments to be able to kind of get in there. Super important and definitely explore. Canada, if you come to Canada, it's really very huge. Explore, meet people and all. So I think those are some of the tips that I have. If I remember any, I can pass them on later, but those are some of the things that's top of my head.
No, thanks, Moshokwe. That's solid advice. And I'm glad that you're echoing some of the things I've said on this channel before. A lot of people, we talk about networking, and people are like, when the networking you gone, like, what is it? Some of us are introverts, some of us, listen, believe it or not, I'm also an introvert. But when it's time to network,
Um,
this
you
is
go
your
out
future we
there.
are talking about.
And right now with the pandemic, it's even easier. When I came into Canada, I had to go for programs and talk to people physically. You understand? It started out as awkward. What I did back then is, I'll go with some of my other colleagues. We'll go there, we'll kind of band together. You might be the only person, but you go there and new in Canada, you meet people. Some people might not talk to you well. It's fine. Some will talk to you. You have to. There are different ways you have to do this. It's you that knows what you need. That's at the end
Mm-hmm.
of the day. I tell all these events,
Yeah.
go there.
And even with LinkedIn, just like you said, some people won't, they won't entertain you.
They
And
won't entertain you.
here's one thing that I've noticed. We Nigerians, Facebook, LinkedIn and stuff, when people send requests, most of us will just accept whether we know the person or not. It's different here.
Mhm. It's very
And I
different.
noticed it's very different. On Facebook, if you don't know somebody, they're like,
Who are you?
"Oh, this person sending me a friend request." like it's like you're creepy, like I don't know you. And even some people translate that to LinkedIn as well. Like if they don't work with you, if they don't know you, if you're not actually in their real life network, they don't want to connect on LinkedIn. Now, if somebody rejects your connection request or does not reply your message or replies you saying no, it's okay. Move on to the next person. Don't take it
Exactly.
personally.
I'm taking
It's just
personally. Oh.
people are different. If you want to take things personally here, you'll be surprised that things that people here take as a big deal. Oh wow, like you want a sample of my resume? That's personal. Idea of what works and how it should be, templates and things like that. To some people here, it's a very big deal. You can't ask them for that. If you do, they feel offended. So don't take things personally, just keep pushing, and also learn some LinkedIn etiquette as well. Mushakwe,
Exactly.
what do you have to say
Yeah,
about that?
learn LinkedIn etiquette, you understand? Like, it's really very important. Like I mentioned, if you're adding someone, you get more visibility when you add, like, put a very good intro and be specific, you understand? All this and all that. In LinkedIn, if you at the top of the list, you see it, you add there. And LinkedIn marketing alone, like, for me, it's been something that's it's kind of helped my career because I'm out there, I'm posting knowledge, and they can see this also. She shares knowledge, you post knowledge, you share about your story. We all have very unique stories, you understand? And if you can kind of go into LinkedIn, maybe later on we can kind of maybe do like a LinkedIn session or something. But it is
Yeah.
super powerful. It is. I didn't know the power of LinkedIn till I got here. When I did my program, I posted a particular story of my journey. I was wearing my agbada. The story went viral. Like people
Mm,
commented from all over. I was just like, this
mm,
is just a simple LinkedIn post. It's really
yeah.
very, very powerful.
Yeah, I agree. It's a very powerful tool.
Yeah.
And in case you guys don't know, there's a lot of headhunting that happens on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
A lot of headhunting, if you're in the right space, like, you have all the right credentials and everything, people are looking, recruiters and agencies are looking on LinkedIn for people they can find. Another thing I'll add to the networking is that fine network, but also let people know what you're trying to achieve. There's
Exactly.
some people that will move to Canada and they won't even tell people that they're looking for a job. How can people help you? Don't, I know Nigerians, we are used to keeping things on the low down. You don't want to make look
Which is fine. But
somehow.
yeah, top of mind awareness is really very key. If you have a network, it might even be your natural network. I've landed though. Please, who can show
Hmm.
me the way? I'm looking for
Hmm.
opportunities. Referral is really, really super. It's super important because
Yeah,
we have opportunities. Like it's much easier if I have an opportunity in my company and I drag you in and say I have a candidate, than you applying and getting lost in the crowd of every because it's a pandemic
yeah,
period. Everybody's looking for work.
yeah. And also don't be disappointed if, referrals are not working out. It's just that, at the end of the day, you need to keep trying. You
Yeah,
need to keep
try
trying.
different
Everybody is
methods.
referring to, so that there's also competition there, right?
Exactly.
So, just keep looking for those referrals. It's very important. So let's take some of the questions quickly. I know we're at
Yeah,
our
well,
1 hour mark.
yeah. I'll try
Are
to
you
some more
okay with
questions. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm okay. Actually, there's some questions related to UX and UX in
Okay.
here, and I want to try to
Which one?
take them. So, for
Hmm.
example, there's a question from Daniela. She says, I'm an intern web developer with knowledge of HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, SCSS, okay, and a little about JavaScript. And I got into Winnipeg a month ago. So, if you're an intern web developer, if you really want to continue in the web developer line, web development, if you have these skills, you understand, web development is a particular field that's really selling over here. There's opportunity for you to kind of get internship positions and all that, and even some other full stack positions. It's really possible, at least for a web developer. What you can do is hone your skill, have projects that you've actually built, put them in your GitHub repository and all. I'm sure you understand all these things, and be able to showcase that work. Craft your resume, attend lots of developer, initiatives over there. If you feel you need to level up, take courses, you understand, level up in that field and kind of go out there, have your Stack Overflow and all those things. Put yourself out there. But I know definitely if you're a developer, you should be able to get either a junior developer position and all that. It shouldn't be a problem. Now you are in Winnipeg. I'm not sure Winnipeg is the right place for a tech person. For a tech
Hmm.
person, that's very important. If you come to Canada, know where you want to land. A tech person, if you go to Nova Scotia or all those places, the chance of you getting a job is super slim. You understand? The places where you should be applying to, you can, and right now from Winnipeg you can apply, but places like Vancouver, Toronto, and the Greater Toronto area. They're really very solid for tech right now. So you can kind of look
Montreal
into,
too.
yeah, Montreal to Quebec to really very solid for tech. So know where to apply to. Winnipeg might kind of stunt you. So if you get that job in that other place, if you're able to move, jump out to the next place. So that's one thing about it. And someone also has a question related to that, certificate in Canada as a software dev. I don't think for a software developer, I know some people that actually got jobs from Nigeria as a software developer. You understand? And that is Oyelami's comment over here. And you don't need to have that. I know people that haven't gotten jobs, they've moved jobs here. But so, as a software engineer, what stacks do you have? Are you able to put that in either your LinkedIn or your resume? Do you have a repository of work you've done? Do you have things you've built that you can actually showcase? If you're really very good at your job as a software dev, trust me, people will be coming to look for you. And if you're still in Nigeria, trust me, you can even get jobs that will be the ones to even move you as a software dev. I know people that have done it before, and it's a real thing. So that's one thing about that. And yeah, there's someone here like, I'm a graphic motion designer. I just started my UX journey in UX UI. Would you say it's easy to get a job in the field, my prior experience in Nigeria? Now, one thing about it is the prior experience in Nigeria, I worked in Nigeria and I worked at some of the best companies there. And unless you have a solid portfolio, you understand, a really super solid portfolio in UX, it may be really very hard. What most people think is UX UI in Nigeria is just designing screens and do something very fine. But you need to have a solid case study. You can look at my website if you're looking for inspiration of kind of write things. It's moshopre.xyz, really very, very simple. Look at the case studies. If you're able to achieve that level of in-depth in your work, trust me, you'll be able to get a job. If not, you need to go back and start learning. So really super important out there. Okay.
The person has a follow-up question, or is Canadian experience still does Canadian experience still come in as a factor?
One thing about Canadian experiences, most of the time, that Canadian experience is bobo. It's a very nice way for them to tell you we don't want you. They always say, hey, you had the Canadian experience. But if you are good, they would want you. That's the truth about it. So no one will see a good talent. I wouldn't see a good talent and tell them, a guy that's going to tell them you don't have the Canadian, please, come to my team. I want to make money. That's the thing about it. So are you aligned? And for some other roles that are not tech, this kind of comes into play, things like communications, banking, because you don't have things to showcase. It's just based on word of mouth and your resume, so they're not sure. If your work is very good, you should be able to get it. I don't see that as a problem from my end.
Yeah, especially this job being such a visual job
Yeah,
too.
it's very visual. If you're good, you're
I
good. Like
mean,
you
visuals
can't
are
hide it.
universal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's universal. It's universal. Okay. Yeah. So how can I get an internship? I think I kind of like talked on that for them like the
Okay.
other time. Yeah, internship in Canada, and yeah. So if someone has experience in product design, if I come to Canada, do you recommend a training in Canada or education in Canada as a boost to get employment? If you have experience in Canada, if you can take this training, it's going to be very good for you. Now, why is that? Why is that so? Some of these programs kind of expose you to the lay of the land. You understand? They kind of, some of them share this networks with them. You gain visibility, especially if they kind of showcase you and all. But if you have a very solid portfolio, if you look at your work, and trust me, you can. There are many design communities in Canada, currently. You can actually look at them, look at the top designers, or even globally. Look at top designers' portfolio. Look at the quality of work they are bringing. If you cannot achieve that level of in detail in work, you showcasing your research and all that, trust me, you're competing with people that are really very good too. It will be hard for you to get in. So if you realize that you've not gotten in there, then kind of go back to the drawing board to go and learn, take courses, level up. That's how Canada is. You have to really level up in your field. So yeah,
Constantly. Even when you feel like you've gotten to the level that you want to get to, you still need to
exactly.
continue
You need
developing
to continue.
yourself.
That's it. So as a chartered accountant, can one come and study UX as a course in Canada? You can switch from any career into UX. That's the beauty of UX. The design skill, I know people back then as they moved from medicine, they moved from acting, they moved from video editing, they moved from different fields. It's not compulsory you have a skill as a graphic designer. But as a graphic designer, you have an edge. But if you're a creative person, you can take those courses, go in there with try to understand deeply what UX is. And you either, so for someone like a chartered accountant, when you're switching careers, you might have to start from like a junior level and move up. But imagine if you're an accountant, you're a designer, and you work for a consulting company. You have an edge because you understand accounting. You understand? You have an edge. So, like we mentioned earlier, there are transferable skills that you can bring in. So, leverage on some of those past things and kind of go into wherever field you are going into.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is a similar question, but this person also asked how long it
How
would take
long?
for one to
Yeah.
navigate.
Yeah. One thing about the how long is the how long depends on you. How bad do you want? How much work are you willing to put in it? I know some people that they were my cohort back then when I did that program. I had some knowledge, so I was really super good. They started from the bare bones. Now, a year and what, almost 2 years after, they've leveled up because they went into the course, they kept practicing, they kept meeting people, networking, they got a job, and the job has been leveling them up too. So, how long you navigate it is up to you. Of course, definitely you can't know more than the person that created the software. Even the software person is even learning. But if you are ready to go deep dive into it and learn, it's up to you how fast you grow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Chinaza has, do you need a bootcamp certificate to break into UX? Can you only do so with a great portfolio? If you have a great portfolio, yes, you can break in. Now, one thing about it is because even sometimes the bootcamp is just like a surface level to level up. If you have a great portfolio, if you look at some of like top four portfolios globally and you're able to like you know that your thinking is very solid, you're able to get in. Now, if you're depending on where you're applying from, if you're in Canada, pretty great. If you're in Nigeria, you might have to kind of explore other places too, like explore Canada, explore other stuff. But if you have a good portfolio, trust me, people see. I've had people reach out to me through my website for side gigs and all. Some of them I've been able to take, some of them I've not been able to because of my agreement and my place of work. So yeah,
Okay. Now this next question I'm going to answer. I intend
yeah.
applying to Toronto School of Management to study big data, but it's a year program. My question is, what are my chances of getting PR following this route? Now, this school, I'm going to answer it in this session, even though it's not UI UX related, because the question comes up a lot for this particular school. This is a private school. It doesn't offer postgraduate work permit. The name sounds like, oh, this, right? Like Toronto School of Management, but it will not offer you a postgraduate work permit. Please, I know they tell you, oh, they will offer you a work placement after you get internship, after you can get a job. Don't take your chances. Don't take your chances. Don't. Just get a school and a program that offers postgraduate work permits. If you go back to my videos on immigration, I have links in my description boxes where you would see the list of designated learning institutions, those that are eligible for postgraduate work permit. You will literally write there eligible, yes, no. Canada has made everything easy. There's a website for everything. So on that page, you would see the list of schools that are eligible for postgraduate work permit. This is not a publicly funded university. It doesn't give you postgraduate work permit. They will sweet talk you. They want your money, whatever. It's up to you to decide. But I personally, if I were you, I would go with a school that I know for sure gives me postgraduate work permit. Whether I have a job or not, I wouldn't have to just go back to my home
Nigeria.
country. So let's see the next one.
So I'll assume this person is kind of like just starting school. You understand? And is it what is to do computer science? Yes. I don't know what university or where, maybe what country or where this is happening, but your early degree will just most Nigerian schools just kind of you do computer science and that's it. But you then have, I know some software developers are very good and they don't have a university education because they learned the coding, all the different stacks and all that. So if you do computer science, that is fine. It's really super broad. You want to be a developer, you want to be a data scientist, you want to be a security specialist. It's really very broad. The most times the degree that you study, some like I studied geology, I didn't even study UX UI. So, and I know many people are like that. So they study different things and are in different fields now. So at the end of it, it's up to you. This school is just, you have a degree. It's a starting place, but in the world we are right now, you own your own. That's basically it.
Yeah. So the next question kind of ties into a lot of what we've already talked about. What steps can be taken to get into the web software development field? She's learning JavaScript, CSS, HTML, and intending to pick up UI UX. Do you have any tip for this person?
Yeah, so in the web software development in Canada, so if you are just starting up as a current junior designer and are just learning, there are different ways you can do it. Now, you've learned these skills. Before you decide to, like maybe like through immigration and co jump to Canada, there are lots of platforms where you can do lots of freelance work. you can try to get some of those freelance work to beef your portfolio up. That's why if you have a LinkedIn, for example, so people can even reach out to you and say, hey, you're a developer, I want to build something. Start doing those things. Now, if you want to pick up UI UX and you start learning it, a designer that knows how to code and designs, it's really pretty good because you can speak the language of developers. So you can add that to your belt. At the end of the day, development and UI UX, they're two different things. Most likely you want to focus on front end, but choose the one you like the most, work in a particular aspect. Try to start to build a portfolio, get some work over there. I know some people that they even maybe like went to a startup, for example, and they went there and they offered services to them. And this is another thing that I just remembered. Now, most people do things like you see job postings on LinkedIn and all that. There's a site called angel.co, Angel List. It's a site that has startups. Now, some startups, they don't really have enough money and all that, but they're looking for talent. You can cold email some of those companies and say, hey, I'm a developer, I'm a designer, I can help you guys build and do stuff. And some of them are willing to offer you a job to start something. They might start with
Mm.
remote, and later on they're able to file for you and say, okay, you know what, do you want to come work, come to Canada to work for us? I've seen that happen a lot of times. So it's another avenue which goes at you. How bad do you want it? So I just remember angel.co, lots of startups,
Wow.
reach out to them, they're looking for talent. And you can just say, hey, this is my work I'm offering, and what is there for them to lose by bringing you on board? So another
Mhm.
avenue to kind of enter in there.
That's an amazing one, though. That's
Yeah.
that's a
I just
very
remember
good tip.
I just remember right now.
Yeah, thank you for that. Um, let's see this question. God bless you too. Please, I need some advice. I recently started pursuing this whole IT thing. I have a bachelor's in engineering, but I haven't been able to get a job in my field, hence the IT journey. But I do not know what part of IT I should go after, although I started with data analytics and I can use Python a little. This question
Just
is
to be
long,
on
though. You
Tableau,
might,
and I started learning machine learning, and so far it's okay. I guess it's hard,
there's,
but I'm still pushing it. Is there more? Okay.
yeah.
Possible what roles I should focus on. So you already have some understanding of data science and data analytics. And it's also over here, like there are different experts. Oh, my audio is muffled. Okay, sorry.
No,
There are
no,
different,
no.
oh sorry,
I
there are
think it was
different.
just the person's audio.
Okay. So it's a field that is growing here too, even though of course like it's still growing, so competition is a bit stiff. But continue in that particular line that you are in. It's also a very good field. Look for real projects. If you want to learn machine learning, go online, look for projects, look for data, actually solve some problems. If you want to, if you know that you need to attend some courses, take some courses. You understand? You're taking those courses to show you have like some certification, to also leverage on whatever network those particular places has. You understand? But it's and also to speak to people that work in this field. What was their experience like? You understand? If you're in Canada, there's a particular group called Nigerians in IT in Canada. You can join that group, speak to people, network, get information to understand what you need to do to get that particular job.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Hello, Moshope. I'm a graphic designer. I recently started my journey into UI UX design. I want to ask if I need work experience in UI UX to move to Canada under the Express Entry program. So, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead. When I moved to Canada, when I was applying for the express entry, I only had graphic designer experience. And if you've been working as a graphic designer, you can claim that experience. Claiming experience in whatever doesn't matter. When you come here, you can always do whatever you want. You can even go do
Yeah,
business if that's what you want. So if you have experience as a graphic designer, if there's an NOC for graphic designer, claim
yeah,
it.
it's a skilled job.
Ensure the work you are doing is graphic design. Yeah, and Faye has videos on all those things. But when you move to Canada, nobody's going to ask you what NOC you came in with. They just want to see that you can do the job. So that's it.
Okay, awesome. Let's see what else is career related. Someone's asking what is required to enroll for the bootcamp. I think you can find that information maybe on their website.
Yeah, on their website, there are many boot camps out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can find the information over there.
Yes. And there's this funny comment that I'm going to bring up. Hold on. Oh, okay. Before we do that, let's see this one.
Okay, is software engineering a good job in Canada? Can you recommend any IT jobs? Is that the one we're going to bring?
Software engineering. Yeah, it is a good job. I mean, I feel like it's in demand,
Yeah, it's in
but
demand, but skill level is also really very important to that particular aspect. So, do you actually know your onions? Can you use all those different stacks and different stacks for front end, back end, JavaScript, React, Premiere, and all those things?
Next question is Vancouver better than Toronto for the IT field?
Yeah, for that's a good question. For IT, because Toronto is like it's bigger than Vancouver, there are opportunities in Toronto, so like, but right now, if you have the open options, because Vancouver is at the extreme west, Toronto is at extreme east, so it's a lot of move back and forth. But both of them are very good for IT. So depending on wherever you are able to go into, they are both very good.
Yeah. And they both have competition
Yeah, they
because
both have
they're both big
competition.
cities and they have a lot of people. And there are a lot of Asians in Vancouver.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, I I know it might sound like a stereotype, but a lot of the Asians in Vancouver too are in IT. So the competition is like stiff based on what I've heard. It's quite stiff, but it's the same as Toronto too with regards, the population, and population in Toronto obviously is more. So that competition kind of is at the same level somehow.
yeah,
That's what I've
somehow.
heard. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not in IT, so I can't tell
yeah,
you that for sure.
exactly.
But
I
it
have lots
doesn't
of
matter.
friends that got jobs
See,
in Vancouver. Some have moved from Toronto to
mhm,
Vancouver. You understand?
yeah,
Like anything is possible. That's the truth about it.
yeah.
So if you
Keep
have the
yourself
options open,
open.
you understand,
Mm-hmm.
you can try both of them and see where
Yeah.
where you land. Yeah.
Yeah, you can always apply for jobs in any city. I
Hmm.
mean, one thing that I feel like people right now may not really enjoy the benefit of is just that temporary Airbnb availability, where some people
Exactly.
would land somewhere, get an Airbnb for 1 or 2 months, see where they get a good job, and then just up and leave. Right now, Airbnb is not really functioning like that because of COVID.
Because of COVID.
So
Yeah.
people are having to go into 1 year lease right off the bat. So now it's kind of tough, but still keep your options open, even if, I mean,
Yeah. Keep
depending
your
on the
options
money,
open.
it might be
And if
worth
I
it to break
and
your
if I
lease or something.
And if you're a single person, for example, let's say you don't have a family, you can go on kijiji.ca. That's if you're in Canada. There are people that they'll rent one room in an apartment, and it's kind of month to
Hmm.
month. Or they'll say, "Oh, we want."
Yeah,
So, but you can kind of just manage there. It's not the easiest. You can manage there for a while till you get your bearings. So those are some other
hmm,
options to available. So you don't just go lock
yeah,
yourself in 1 year rent and all.
yeah. Yeah. So keep your options open, to be honest.
Hmm.
This question, so he's asking about engineering in Canada. Now, I am going to be bringing some people on to talk about engineering in Canada. So I'm bringing someone who has gone through the licensing process, somebody who is currently going through the licensing process, and somebody who decided not to go through it and just went through an alternative route and is doing very well. So that will be coming up soon. Is software engineering a good? You've already talked about that. What are the opportunities for a recruitment officer? I'll go on indeed.ca, have a look at that, and you see there are lots of HR jobs. Recruitment officers are hired a lot by agencies and, lots of organizations. I mean, HR is needed everywhere, right? So just
Hmm.
look it up on Indeed. It might not be the exact same title that you just written. Just search
Yeah.
HR and then start
HR,
looking at
technical
them from there.
recruiters, all those things.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. Hi,
Okay, a senior
Shopper. I
backend
mean,
engineer in a financial company. I've had luck looking for seniors in Germany, but not in Canada. Any advice for me? So, like as a senior backend engineer, like you definitely have a lot of experience in your particular side, and backend is really very huge here. So you may not have had, you've not had a lot in Canada, but I don't know where you've been applying to, and kind of companies and all that. One thing I can just say is, if possible, if you can meet other people in that particular field, ask them what it's like in there. Understand what does that particular field look like? Sometimes, like I mentioned, you may have to go for startups. Understand that that might they're able to kind of bring you in when you get to a kind of pivot. And also, I don't know what kind of this kind of stacks you use as a backend person. Are you someone that uses Django? Do you use C Sharp? I don't know what your stack is. So you may also have to look at what stacks are kind of in demand. And if you're a generalist, then you kind of have to just tailor that. I know some people that are working in Germany and they've moved to Canada as a developer too. So things are possible, but I don't really have ideas since you're in kind of like senior level for a developer. So you might have to ask some people that are in that field what the experience was like for them and how they came in.
okay, thank you. Can one be a UX designer? Moshopa already
UX
mentioned this as
researcher.
one
Yes,
of
you can
the
be a UX researcher. There are
criteria.
roles for UX researcher in Canada. So yeah, you can.
Mhm. When am I doing one for core engineering? Coming very soon. There are a lot of engineers that watch me
Yeah, that's what
apparently,
you
so it's very highly requested. Um,
Okay, so this question is very valid too. So income is just about to start a career in in UI. So I would advise you don't just focus on UI. So UI is just user interface design and just basically just designing. You have a much better chance if you are able to do a full UX course, and you can be a generalist, do UI, do research. So if you don't understand, if you can't afford the boot camp because they're pretty pricey, the Interaction Design Foundation has some very good courses. You can have a look at that. The what do you call it? Udemy. There's a particular guy called David Travis. If you are over here, you can look for. He has a very super course on UX. You can pay for that course. You can follow it. When you then follow it, because you're not in a boot camp where people will kind of handhold you, you then have to do a lot of networking. Attend lots of design events, lots of design communities. Create events. If you're listening, there are communities in Canada like the Design X, Amazing Design People List, ADP list. You can look for those communities. They have events. Attend events, look at portfolio review sessions, learn more, meet people, open your network. That's one way for you to grow. And because you don't have any education to kind of ram this thing into your head, so you have to basically go
mhm.
for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally agreed. Do junior UI UX designers have a chance of getting a job, even with few years work of experience?
Yeah, even with few years work of experience. So getting a job directly from Nigeria is not that easy. You understand? Especially for if it was an engineer, they can kind of move in and all. It's not that easy. But one thing about it is if you have few years of experience, how good is the experience you have? Because sometimes some companies in Nigeria they don't have the full UX process. They just do things that just sharp, do it and get it out there. You might say I've worked for 3 years, but I see your portfolio and it's really so junior that nobody will want to call you. So it's really, really very, but it's not impossible. You can try your luck, reach out to startups, do some freelancing gigs, try to work with people from over there to understand and build yourself out as that designer. So it is possible, but if you want to apply directly from Nigeria, I can't say to you, I kind of either review your portfolio or see what you have in there to tell you if this is a plus or a thumbs down.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
This is from Olu. By the way, Olu, she lives in Moncton, New Brunswick. She's one of my
Okay.
very good friends, and
Mhm.
she's just started her YouTube channel as well. And she's sharing a lot about life in New Brunswick, the Maritimes, Atlantic Canada. So you guys definitely go check her out. Check out her channel. Tell her Max sent you. She's saying, funny story. Facebook suggested my manager to me. I sent a friend request, so she did accept in 2 days. And I know she's quite active on Facebook. I got the vibe and canceled the request. So that just speaks to the conversation we had
Exactly. It's
before
personal.
about
Yeah.
to them all these small things that we just like, it's not to them, it can be a big deal.
Yeah. It's a big deal.
Don't
Like
take things
most.
personally. Just
Exactly.
laugh.
Yeah,
Abi.
it's a big deal. That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so a couple of questions came up as well. I'll just go to this one. I'm a
Yeah. If I
certified
yeah,
front-end developer in Nigeria. What are my chances of getting a job in Canada?
for a front-end developer, if you're certified, you have the experience, and you're really very good, your chances are high. Now,
Yeah.
for a developer, some people explore. There's a particular place called Van Hack. You can have a look at them. Those ones they specialize in networking developers to jobs in Canada and other parts of the world. Have a look at them. If your work is super good, so you can reach out to the startups directly. Tell them, hey, I'm good. I can do stuff for you. Go to Angel List, cold call them, like send emails. They might not reply. They might reply. Or if you see a particular startup, the CEOs on LinkedIn, nobody came and say, hey, I can see you guys are looking for a developer. I'm a certified developer. This is what I can do. Can I have a chat with you to discuss the possibilities? Someone might reply, and you never know. Like if you're able to excel, like your name says, in that particular aspect, they can give you a job and give you the opportunity to come to Canada. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And the startups are really good. I know some people try to like look for the big companies that are already established and everything. But listen, I've had people that actually have experience in both startups and big companies, and they're like they actually prefer, startups because it's more like a family and things like that. And people will have different preferences. So definitely don't look down on any organization. Startups, those are big opportunities,
yeah, big
right? And
opportunity.
there are a lot of them.
Yeah, there are a lot
There are
of
lots
them,
of
and
yeah.
exactly. And for some of them, like if you're a developer, they're easy compared to the big companies. These guys are easily able to say, okay, we'll kind of file for you to come, and you just kind of come into like that. Whereas big companies, everybody they're hot cake. Why would I file for to bring you to the country when I can replace you with somebody else? That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this one, I'm an intermediate UI UX designer. Can I start applying for international gigs? What would I need to apply to this kind of jobs?
Yeah, I think I kind of thought on that a little bit. You understand, like you might be an intermediate designer, but does your work actually reflect? Can your work compete with international levels? If yes, then if no, you need to work on a portfolio, kind of have more case studies, do in-depth stuff, and you can apply for international gigs. You can even try different countries. You understand? So it's possible, but trust me, competition is very high. So can you compete with the best of the best? That's the question you should ask yourself. If not, then either learn or improve yourself in that particular regard.
And I'm just going to put this question up because she keeps reposting. Is it possible to take a UI UX design course twice in life? Of course.
You can take
You-
trust me, you can take, if one is not good, if you wasted money, take another
yeah,
one.
take
But
another
now,
one.
one comment about that, I want to just comment is why are you taking 2 years? So if the courses you took were really very bad, that's that would be a thing. But if you took one particular course, are you having challenges working as a designer? Are you putting in the effort as a designer to actually put the work in? That'll be the question that one can ask, if you want to do things twice. If you've done one already, if your work is good enough, then I don't think you might need to naturally go for like a beginner class boot camp because it would be like a waste of money in that sense.
Mhm. So let's take this last question because I know I have to let you go. I told you
Yeah,
1 hour and this is an hour
yeah,
and a
it's
half.
one
I
hour,
have
30
to let
minutes.
you
Yeah,
go. We can't be doing Nigerian time in Canada.
yeah. Time is money.
So I just wanted to, yeah, let's take this one. Hello, Bashokwe. I work in Conga. When
When I was there.
when
Okay,
you
okay. Let me-
oh, the person knows you.
Yeah, we worked together I used to work in Conga before in Nigeria. So
Okay.
yeah, in Canada, and he's a customer service manager. Now, what are the career changes in customer service in Canada? So, customer service jobs, and I know for you can attest to it, there are lots of them. Now, as a customer service manager, if you want to continue in that line, I do not know. Like I'm not, I don't really specialize in that particular area, so I don't know what that field looks like. So, for you, would you have much more insight in that?
So I've done customer service. For those who kind of know my story, I started as customer service rep in a bank, and from there I moved up. So that's the same story with a lot of other people. If you want to start customer service, you can either see it as what they call a survival job, or as an opportunity to leverage to go up the corporate ladder. So like Moshakwe said, there are a lot of customer service jobs. That's not even a job that goes out of
Out
demand.
of stock, like we say in
See,
Conga.
there are
I
different
get it.
names for customer service too. There's technical advisor, there's customer success. There's so many different titles that organizations have. There's customer experience, there are different ones. So definitely just go on indeed.ca, job bank, Glassdoor, all those websites. Lots of jobs on there. Now, to become a customer service manager, you already have the experience. There's nothing that stops you from applying for both. What I would
Exactly.
just say is that remember to tailor your resume to the one you're applying for. So you can have a customer service resume and you could also have a customer service manager resume. That's one thing you find with a lot of us that are here. We have resumes for everything
For
because
different things.
they're highlighting specific skills and specific duties that you've done for different kinds of roles. So you can't have one generic resume and just send it out to everybody. You need to use keywords from the job posting and all of that. So you have to have your tailored resume. But yes, due to COVID-19, recruitment is low. A lot of organizations are not hiring externally at the moment. Some of them are hiring only specific roles externally because of COVID and because they don't want to lay off their current staff. Um, Now, does that affect customer service? Yes, but positively, because now a lot of people are working from home. A lot of people are having technical difficulties with their work from home gear. There's a lot for customer service. There's a
Yeah,
lot, literally, and they hire en masse. They can hire like 20 people at once, 30 people at once in one organization. So just
exactly.
go ahead and apply. You will see that there are lots of opportunities there. If you're currently not in Canada, when it gets to the interview stage, there's a possibility that they will drop you and just say, sorry, you're not in Canada. That happens a lot with Walmart and some other companies. But as soon as you get into Canada, or you can even just tell them you're landing in 2 weeks, they might be able to. That's if you are, don't lie.
Yeah,
But if you're landing soon, let them know you're landing soon. If you've landed, then perfect. Just let them know. Customer service jobs are a
yeah,
good opportunity to just step into the field you want to step into. So if
exactly.
specific organization you're trying to get into, even if you start at customer service, start there and then use it to work your way up within or outside the organization. Thank you so much, everyone, for um chilling with us today. Like, I know it's been a long conversation. Thank you, Moshope. I'm
Yeah, it's super long,
sorry
and
for stealing your time.
it's fine. It's fine. I'm happy to answer the questions and all that. But yeah, it's been super great, and yeah.
Mhm. Are you okay if people reach out to you? Like, now, obviously, don't go to Moshope and be asking, oh, please, I need a job, blah, blah. That's not
I
how
don't
it
have jobs. I don't
But
have
would
jobs.
you be happy to connect?
Yeah, if I prefer people to connect with me on LinkedIn. If you want to connect with me
Okay.
on LinkedIn, please, like I mentioned, add a note specifying, oh, I watched you on Mac and all that. I'd like to get to know you and all. And if you have questions I can answer, super, because my LinkedIn gets lots of requests. So if you just put it there, I wouldn't know where you're
Yeah.
coming from and I might not accept.
I
So,
told
but
you people in the beginning,
yeah,
Moshope is a
exactly.
big man, a busy
Yeah,
man.
yeah, so that's basically it. So looking forward to have discussion with people in the UX field, and yeah, that's really amazing. So please, you can take me up on
Thank you.
LinkedIn. Most welcome, Faye. Thank you for everybody for
Thank you
tuning in.
so much for taking your time to. Someone's asking what my LinkedIn name is, Faye Macaulay. So yeah, thank you very much, Moshokwe. I'm grateful, man. You've been very, very insightful. You've given so many nuggets, so many tips. I'm very grateful, and I'm sure the viewers are as well. You guys reach out to him on LinkedIn, Moshokwe Adebowale. He'll be happy to connect with you, especially if you put that note, like he said. So yeah, I'll see you guys in my next live video. Don't worry, engineers, something is coming for you soon. Don't
Yeah,
be
something.
offended. All right, thank you and have a
Yeah.
great weekend.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good weekend.
Thanks. Bye.